Hi, this is basically a recording from when I was in a mental institution, 53 days, and this is me discussing with a mental health nurse, Ross, who is fully professional and has worked in forensic prisons and understands the criminal system with mental health, and he basically agrees with me, and this is what I've got to say.
Yeah, I can't believe these cunts is fucking bullshit, Ross. No shit, like fucking, you can't, fuck, the whole structure of this thing, it's just like, fuck man, if you ask anyone else, would they like to be under this regime and have this sort of setup, it'd be fucking like, fuck off. You know what I mean? Like, it just, you know, like, I don't understand why fucking, why there's the chief psychiatrist who I speak to, the fucking, the mental board, you know, why they haven't just jumped in and gone, that's fucking wrong. You can't have fucking people deciding upon you that are fucking friends with fucking people that you make allegations against. It's fucking bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, fuck me. It's just like, which bit doesn't fucking any cunt understand? You know, like, if you're my best mate and fucking someone said, oh, fucking, you fucking done a robbery on a liquor store or whatever, I just say, fuck no, you're with me. You know what I mean? That's what best mates do. And that's what these cunts are doing. They're doing exactly the same fucking job on me. And then when I fucking like Baker was doing, like, when I fucking, you know, in the day, when does Baker ever come in and fucking and come in on a Sunday and fucking and someone get out on a Sunday like bang, and you know, like, you got to give him his phone, rah rah, and then the guy writes a fucking thing saying that fucking he discussed me in the discussion, he fucking this and that. Do you know what I mean? Like, when does that ever happen? I mean, like, he's broken confidentiality, he's broken everything. The bottom line is, you're not allowed to fucking do that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
didn't he get the medical board before you?
Yeah, the medical board said there's no grounds to investigate, even though fucking in the transcript that I've got, the fucking Baker says that Mark Shepherd and him organised the TRG raids at my house. Now, my doctor's meant to fucking care for me, not fucking... Now, before, I was up against, Dr. Chang was my doctor, right? I had 48 breaches of restraining order against Mark Shepherd because I blatantly found the evidence where he tried to kill me, right? And if I could, if you tell me next time you're on, I'll show you fucking the book. The only fears that I've got is that bringing it out, someone's going to take the fucking thing off me and then I've got nothing, right? But the bottom line is, it's 5 pages that blatantly fucking show that they can't try to kill me, right? Now fucking, with Dr. Chang, what happened was Mark Shepherd had a restraining order, and when I found the evidence, I thought, oh, fuck the restraining order. I just sent him messages to try to kill me and engaged in the evidence. He just collected them and collected them and collected them, and until there's 48 of them, right? You know what he did? He went to a police station, he goes to Cottesloe police station, and so he's got all these records of all these messages that I sent, and basically he hands in 3 of them, so I go to the judge for breach of the restraining order for 3 of them, right? The judge tells me, if you come back again, you're going to fucking go to jail, so don't fucking do it again. So what does he do? He goes back home and then hands in the other 38, right? Even though he's got all of them all together, you know what I mean? He drops 3 off, so I go face the courts. The courts tell me that if you come back again, you're going to go to jail. And then he drops off the rest of them, the 48 breach of restraining order. And like, so he dropped off a little bit, even though he had the whole record of all of them all along. So he dropped it off in 2 pieces, right? So I thought, fuck this. I thought, fuck this. I was hospitalised in February. Then in between February and March, February and June, I was hospitalised on the other side, and in between that is all the messages, right? So I thought, fuck this, I'll play you a game. I told my lawyer, I said, oh, we're gonna go on the grounds that I was mentally unfit, right, because of the hospital, right? So I go to Dr. Chang, he's my doctor, and I said, can you write out a report saying that, because they're all text messages, and when you come into hospital, they take your mobile phone off you. So I said, well, Dr. Chang, can you write out a report saying I was unfit to you know, blah, 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 because let's face it, when you get locked up, it's because it's serious, isn't it? I mean, lots of people have mental illnesses, and they're running around doing whatever they want, that don't get locked up. So I said, Dr. Chang, can you write out a report saying that in between those months, I was hospitalised here, on this for a month this time, and on the other side of the offence is another month. Can you write out a report saying that I was not fit, sound mind, or whatever, right? You know what Dr. Chang writes? He writes out a report saying that Alex should have known better what he was doing, right? So my psychiatrist now, who's fucking locked me up for both months, now he says Alex should have known better than what he was doing, and then it says, oh, I have. Basically, there are specific questions that you have to ask, and then it says, is there anything else that you would like to add? And it says that Alex all the time has said that he hasn't got a mental illness. While I'm using the mental health, while I'm using the mental thing for the defence, he adds that Alex all the time has believed he hasn't got a mental illness and doesn't take because of that he has to take injections, so we can't give him the property. So here I am going to see my doctor to get fucking help that he's meant to be helping me, and he's actually, in my mental health defence, he's more or less saying that Alex says he hasn't got one. You know what I mean? Like, what a piece of shit, right? So I go to have to go to a private psychiatrist. I walk into this guy called Ozich, and my lawyer set it up in Applecross, and I just said to done, right? I just walked in and I said, oh, check out my paperwork. And he goes, fuck, you're a nutter. You're like, look, what, you want to block the Governor General and shoot John Howard? In 2 minutes, the guy read out a report saying, not fit to stand trial, see you later. Walk out, right? Took to court, trial over, right? The police chucked, right? In between that, I was receiving death threats off the guy that was, I was in partnership with this house, and I was receiving death threats like for stuff. For example, he's saying, like the wolf, I'll wait till my prey gets weak. And then the other one was, I've got the hangman's noose, all I've got to do is whistle to the hangman, right? So I just received those messages that morning, and then I get police attending my house, right? Bang, bang on the door. I go, what's going on? They arrested me for stalking him while I received those messages. I go, what? And that trial was a week before, right? So I decided that, fuck this. In the trial, the stalking trial, in the stalking trial, I'm just going to turn this whole shit story of the extortion out. Bring all these witnesses in that got fucking all to do with the house and the extortion. And you know what they did? The prosecution gets up and he goes, oh, it had nothing, because I was representing myself in that. He gets up and he goes, oh, we believe he's unfit to stand trial, right? And that was a week before my the trial where I was saying I was unfit. So they got up and said it for me, because they didn't want me to bring in George Loverock and all the big boys that are fucking me over. So they got up and said it. So I got up and said, well, Your Honour, I said, Your Honour, well, seeing that the prosecution believes that I'm unfit to stand trial this week, and I've got a case up next week that's a much serious one where I was facing jail. I said, well, let's keep that going on until next week. And then they argued, no, we want to say that he's fit to stand trial next week. You know what I mean? They wanted to have it both ways, right? These cunts are fucking extorting me for $1 million house. It's fucking plain as Jane. You know what I mean? To fucking see, the guy's got a relationship with fucking the doctor. The doctor's fucking, you know what I mean? If you look on the internet, it says the December medical record, you find it under police corruption, police corrupt, the doctor or psychiatrist give a false diagnosis to discredit a whistleblower. That's me. You know what I mean? I'm not setting a precedent here with what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, and delusional disorder. I have not told them any one of my stories about police corruption. The stories were told by the police on my behalf, and basically I was deemed to be delusional. At the end of the day, how the fuck do I cop the delusional disorder thing when I never said anything? You go to my records, my hospital records, you will never see or hear. Because I'd like the hospital to tell me what happened in Melbourne when I went to Melbourne. I'd like the hospital to tell me what happened in my Sydney operation when I went to Sydney. I would like the hospital to tell me what happened in Coral Bay when I went up to Coral Bay. You know, I'd like to see them show me the 6,000 pages of documentation that I've got at home and that as evidence that fucking, do you know what I mean? How am I delusional? They've listened to the police and they've called
If
me
I was wrong, I'd be
labelled me
interrupted by the
delusional.
nurse,
I'm
wouldn't
a
I?
Third party, from a third party that hates my guts, that's been throwing me in jail, that's trying to extort me out of a $1 million house. I mean, it's just so fucking simple.
You don't present to these 6,000 pages.
No one wants to look at it. I ring up the Triple C, they won't let me in the door. Nobody wants to look at it. Nobody wants to. Put it away, John McGrath, my local politician for South Perth, right? I've been talking all this shit to him, right? Blah, blah, blah. Saying the whole story. He's telling me he doesn't get it, right? So then I've got a fucking communication expert on the IT, right? To tell me whether he's communicating with Mark Shepherd as well. Fucking, he's not only communicating with Mark Shepherd, he communicates with fucking, with Baker, he communicates with fucking, with all of Mark Shepherd's alias names. He's saying he doesn't get it, but then all of a sudden they all know each other. Do you know what I mean? And then, so how I got put back on the CTO is I sent text messages to John McGrath because I got his mobile number, just saying that he is fucking corrupt. Just very careful. I wasn't saying I was going to kill him or fucking anything like that. But that's how I got put back on a CTO. Just by telling him he's corrupt, he doesn't want to meet me. I'm a fucking. I got 3 houses in South Perth, 4 commercial shops, and I'm one of the biggest ratepayers there. Why can't I fucking speak to him? Hey? Well, Pusso, that's why I got put on a CTO. I got put on a CTO because I sent him messages saying he's a joke. You know what I mean? I wasn't rude to him. I wasn't offensive to him. So Dr. Badrika says to me, he goes to me, oh, fucking, you've been sending messages to John McGrath. That's why you're back on the. I wasn't on any medication for 8 months. I've just been put on the CTO because the message is sent to John McGrath. Now, he says that John McGrath got the special dentistry squad onto me. Now, the police know my fucking police around my house every fucking day. Now, the bottom line is, special dentistry squad didn't ring me up. You know what I mean? So what the fuck do I get labelled with all this shit for? You know, on my records it says I wanted to blow up the Governor General. Special dentistry squad are meant to have investigated. They never contacted me about it. It's just on my records. Yeah, the best one is when I was at a hotel room and I went into a MySpace site, which was my girlfriend's, and I found profiles. One was called Bentley, which I did an IP address check on, which suggested it's Dr. Baker. This is on my girlfriend's fucking MySpace site. Then it's got a guy called MARC, which I'm suggesting is Mark Shepherd, which I did by IP address. And then there's another one called Michelle Regan, right? I rang up from a hotel room with my next door neighbour next to me. I was at the Ibis Hotel in Murray Street there. I rang up Dr. Baker and I said to him, I don't know which one of you is fucking my girlfriend, whether it's the boss of Kensington Police Station or you, right? And then I just said, see you later, right? I hung up. My neighbour went home. 2 hours later, I had 26 TRG officers with fucking semi-automatic rifles pointing at my son's head and my fucking neighbour's son's head. And fucking they said that Dr. Baker said that I made threats to shoot John Howard, right? Now me and my neighbour went. I had to flee. I was hiding out at my mate's house for nearly 2 months. I fucking had to leave my son again. So I organised John McGrath to come in with us with my neighbour. My neighbour stands up and goes, hey, that's a load of fucking bullshit. I was standing next to him and fucking he did not say that he made any threats to shoot John Howard. That is an absolute load of wank. He was talking about MySpace. You know what Ben the Hospital said? Nothing. Let's talk about something else. I spent 2 months on the fucking run. There.
Half the country is threatened to shoot fucking John Howard.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, these cunts are making up this shit, and they're the delusional cunts. And at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like, fucking, the bottom line is I'm getting fucking labelled with it, and it's all about extortion over this house. You know what I mean? When I told the guy that was going on as a police operation and you guys are trying to set me up, the guy shat himself. He went to his lawyer's office and fucking got me an offer that says you can have your house back with no conditions. So I went to the lawyer's office 2 days later, said I accept, and they said that he sacked his fucking lawyer and that's why the conditions are no go anymore. Right? Yeah, there's no bullshit. I got the offer at home, right? And even more funny enough, I'm sitting down in the lawyer's office when I went to go meet them, right? I'm sitting down. I said, I'm such and such. Can I speak to that lawyer? So I'm just sitting down there and fucking my cousin rings me up. He's listening on a scanner. He goes, you in a lawyer's office? He goes, yeah. He goes, you can't just bring the cops on you. I was just sitting there waiting for the lawyer to come out. and I got fucking escorted out of there for the cops. Do you know what I mean? Like, fucking, do you know what I mean? Like, you know, I've got so much evidence and so many people that can back it up, eyewitness reports, fucking IT experts, and like, it says that once the sample medical record happens against you, seek a professional that advocates for you, and then you sit back and the mental illness issue doesn't take a precedent, and then that person says blah, 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 and then you like, there's the illness stuff doesn't come into it. That's why they use this shit against you. I mean, like, you know, like, the other day I was speaking to Andrew, and Andrew goes, how many times have you been admitted here, Alex? He goes, your story sounds so good, but how many times have you been admitted here? I said, okay, first time, I fucking was admitted here because fucking I told my son was dying, head injuries, and that's all a load of bullshit, and fucking, that's how I got admitted here the first time. The second time, the neighbour over the back fence, who I now know as a cop, baited my dogs once before, I caught him in the act, fucking baited my dog and killed it, so I hung the dog. Yeah, so I hung the dog on his front door and said, fuck you too, you know? And that's the second time I got admitted. The third time I got admitted here, this time here, was fucking because of Dr. Bedrikis' bullshit. At the end of the day, that's already 3 admitteds already that has got totally fuck all to do with me. And totally fuck all to do with why anyone would get admitted, and totally fuck all to do with why people need to be protected from me, or why I have to self-harm myself. You know what I mean? Like,
Hypothetically, if you had made verbal threats, hypothetically,
why don't they go to the police and charge me?
have you ever actually physically assaulted anyone?
Never.
Why?
Why is it the doctor's problem?
It just seems.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Intense to me.
yeah, but do you know what I mean? Like, it's over intense, but because for instance, if the doctor, if I'm such a threat, right, these people should go to the police, and if they got grounds for charges, I should be charged. Not fucking my doctor telling me that I'm fucking dangerous. Do you understand?
If you're that high threat, you shouldn't be walking around the ground with me.
Huh?
If you're that high risk threat, you shouldn't walk around the ground with me.
Well, Pusso, I'm telling you now that Dr. Bedrikis has told me that on my records, it says that the police have labelled me as being high threat. At the end of the day, I've got no history of violence. Ever.
Yeah, I've actually seen that, Alex.
Do you know what I mean?
I've actually seen where it's from the police. But I don't understand. Obviously, I didn't get to know all the external things.
Yeah, but the bottom line is you go face a judge, right? And for say stealing a car, right? If it says that you stole 100 cars before, you're fucking gone. If it says you haven't stolen a car ever before, you fucking okay then. You fucking here's a little probation thing, a warning. Do you know what I mean? I've done fuck all, and I've been treated fucking like a monster here. And not only that, they don't give a fuck about my son on the outside who's going wayward right now. You know what I mean? Hey? Well, my next door neighbour, but he's having great difficulty, right? Because he's just running amok. He's just at that age and he's just running amok. I can prove to you, honestly, I can prove to you that a police informant is supplying my son with marijuana right now, and he's only 15 years of age. And I can prove that to you in a second.
Also, I'm just going from off the top of the head. If you're at high risk, how can you custody your son?
Yeah, you tell me. Every 2 weeks, that I had in my meetings with Dr. Bedrikis or Dr. Baker, I would show them my phone. And my phone is basically, you better fucking jump on a plane and go to Melbourne, can't if you know what's good for you. You better fucking, that's nothing, Alex. I showed messages to Dr. Bedrikis where it said, a girl saying that she loves sucking my son's hot sweet cum, and my son's only 15 years of age. Pedophilia acts, right? At the end of the day, that's fuck all too. He don't give a fuck about that either. Every week that I showed him, that's why they didn't want me to. That's why they put me on this treatment order, but then they told me not to come in and ever see him because basically they realised that I was recording it all the time, so they look like fuckheads. So basically, you're on such high risk. Take your medication, but we don't ever want to talk to you about your problem, even though you're fucked in the head. Do you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, they've made up all this big story. Do you know the last time I spoke to the doctor was probably last October. Now they're saying that they've mentioned this trial that they've both been summoned to. So what the fuck has that got to do with anything? I'm in a trial and I'm actually kicking their asses big time, where the prosecution has actually got up after I set the girl up at Dongra, because me proving that she's a police informant, she sends me messages like, it's easy for me to organise a hospital bed for you at Bentley Hospital, right? This is a girl that advocated for me, right? I proved that she's a police informant. You mean I proved that she's a police informant? So I said, okay, let's go to trial. Then they cops come out and said, oh, here's a VRO from the girl verbally, without even giving the paperwork. And they said, by the way, you're not going to court on the 26th, now you've got to go on the 18th just before. I went to court on the 18th, and then you know what the prosecution said? Oh, we lost the phone records. We lost the phone records for your trial, which they could have asked me for. I could have given it to them. I was ready to go. But more importantly, it meant that they changed the trial dates, so I have to reissue the summons again. The girl fucked off, didn't she? Do you know what I mean? Straight away. Do you know what I mean? It's, you know, do you know what I mean? I'm so way ahead of the game. Like, the delusional disorder, it's a fucking insult. Like, I've been fighting these cunts for 10 years and I'm kicking their fucking asses. I know how they work. I know who they fucking work with. They work, which gangs they work with. I know the whole organisation.